Obama avoids Diddy allegations. Caroline exposes hidden Obama. Diddy photo. Studio explodes. Live broadcast The People's Lens. Primetime talk show. Host Savannah Reed. Savannah host. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The People's Lens. Tonight, a special conversation with two defining figures of American politics. On my right, the former President of the United States, Barack Obama, and joining us from the new wave of political youth, the sharp and fearless Caroline Leavitt. Welcome to both of you. Obama smiling. Thanks for having me. Caroline, pleasure to be here. Savannah. Let's start light, shall we, Mr. President? Any artists you've been enjoying lately? Obama chuckles. Well, you know, I've always liked a little Jay-Z Kendrick. Some old school soul. Caroline, rap music, huh? That's interesting. Did that include Sean Combs, Diddy? Obama pauses. I've heard his stuff. Not a huge fan, but yeah, familiar. Caroline leaning in. Familiar enough to take a photo with him. Obama raises eyebrow. A photo, Savannah. Actually, we have that photo. Let's bring it up. Screen behind them lights up. A high-res image of Barack Obama smiling next to Sean Diddy Combs, mid-handshake, somewhere at a gala. Obama blinking surprised. Okay, that's from years ago, probably an event. I met a lot of people, Caroline, of course, except this one's different. Because now, Mr. Combs is at the center of a criminal trial that's gripping the nation. Abuse, blackmail, narcotics, even underage exploitation. Savannah. Caroline, we haven't confirmed. Caroline ignoring, and here's our former president shaking hands with the man. Obama controlled. That picture doesn't prove a relationship. I meet hundreds of people every week. That's not evidence of knowing someone. Caroline. But you remember the moment, right? The smile wasn't fake. The pose wasn't an accident. Obama, are we seriously doing this? Caroline, I'm seriously asking, did Diddy ever use that photo to boost his public image? Did he name-drop you, Mr. President? Obama shifting in his seat, not that I'm aware of. Caroline, because according to reports he did, multiple times, interviews, social media. He called you a friend, a supporter. Savannah, okay, let's slow down. Caroline, no, let's not. Because if a predator cloaked himself with the credibility of the President of the United States to prey on others, then the American people deserve to know. Obama tense. Caroline, that's a dangerous leap, and frankly disrespectful. Caroline softens. Maybe. But what's more dangerous is ignoring the power of image. You're not responsible for his actions, but you were a symbol, whether you like it or not. Savannah interjects. Let's bring this back to our scheduled topic, celebrity influence on American youth. Caroline nods. Exactly. Because kids follow people like Diddy, they emulate them, and when their heroes fall, it hurts. Obama, so now I'm being blamed for their heroes. Caroline, no, but I'm asking for awareness, a bit of humility, not defensiveness. Obama coolly, I have nothing to defend. Savannah, let me bring up something recent. A Department of Justice report mentioned increased incidents of underage fans being exposed to inappropriate celebrity content. Caroline, and yet we invite them to the White House. We give them medals. We sing along to their tracks. Obama with sarcasm. Should I apologize for listening to music now? Caroline, no, but maybe acknowledge that endorsement matters. Obama exhales. Why am I even here? This was supposed to be a conversation about civic engagement, and instead I'm being grilled over a photo with someone I barely know, Caroline. Because for once, it's not about a speech, it's about a pattern. Savannah gently, Mr. President, do you believe people like Diddy damage trust in leadership when they use political connections to appear untouchable? Obama long pause. Anyone who uses others' credibility to hide wrongdoing is wrong. Period. Caroline, that's all we needed to hear. Savannah, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll discuss the line between fame and responsibility. Stay with us. Camera fades out with soft piano outro lingering on the photo on screen. INT, TV studio, night. Camera zooms in, lights intensify. The atmosphere is thick, the conversation has shifted. Caroline Levitt, poised, leans forward, pressing gently but strategically. Former President Obama tries to stay composed. The studio breathes tension. Caroline, Mr. President, let's circle back. You said you don't know Sean Combs, correct, Obama? That's right. I may have heard the name. He's a public figure. But no, I don't know him personally. Caroline smiling knowingly. Interesting, because our producers found something. Could we bring up the image, please, on screen? A crisp image appears. It shows Barack Obama and Diddy at a private fundraising gala, casually shaking hands, both smiling. Caroline gently, is this Photoshop? Obama visibly caught off guard. I'm not sure where that was taken. Public events, people come and go. I met a lot of people. Caroline pressing. But you said you didn't know him. Obama defensive, and I don't. A handshake at a fundraiser isn't a friendship. Caroline, of course. But don't you think it's misleading when someone like Diddy uses that photo in PR materials, making it appear you're close, Obama? That's not something I control. Caroline, but what you do control is your platform. Do you condemn the use of your image by someone currently on trial for allegations involving abuse, blackmail, and drug-related crimes, Obama? If someone is abusing my image in ways that hurt the public trust, then yes, I would absolutely distance myself. Caroline nods, but the glint in her eye shows she's not letting go just yet. The live audience murmurs. Caroline, to clarify, you're distancing yourself from Diddy Combs publicly here on national television. Obama, carefully, I'm distancing myself from any criminal behavior, and anyone found guilty of such actions. Let due process do its work. Host interjecting. On that note, we need to address the broader implications. Diddy is just one of many high-profile celebrities accused of disturbing behavior. Many of these figures have massive teen followings. Is the entertainment industry influencing our youth in dangerous ways? Caroline passionately. Absolutely. And it's about accountability. We're at a point where pop culture stars become moral compasses. They shape identity, behavior, even politics. If we're silent while they exploit that platform, we're complicit. Obama irritated, I was invited here to talk about civic engagement, not dissect the scandal of the week. Caroline softening slightly, and we appreciate your time truly. But civic trust is tied to cultural figures. You said it yourself in past speeches, leadership is influence. That goes beyond elected office. Obama trying to pivot, yes, but host interrupting again. We'd be remiss not to point out that your administration post-presidency continued relationships with several public figures now under investigation. Are these choices vetted? Obama tense. Look, if every photo I took or hand I shook became a loyalty oath, I'd never leave the house. Caroline with a half smile. But isn't that the point? Public figures should be aware of who they're elevating. Diddy's image has power, partly because he had access to people like you. Obama exasperated, so now I'm responsible for Diddy's entire career. Caroline calm, not his career, just the perception, especially when that perception affects how young Americans see power and privilege. Pause. Obama adjusts his posture. The tension is now a battle of wits. The audience is silent. Then Obama speaks. Obama, tell me something, Ms. Levitt. Why do I feel like my entire political life has less allure than a rapper's private life? Is this really what we've come to? Louder from a few audience members. But Caroline remains unfazed. She leans in. Caroline, with all due respect, Mr. President, maybe it's not allure. Maybe it's about transparency. Diddy's world is chaotic, but he doesn't run for office. You did. Silence. Caroline lets her point linger. The host jumps in to mediate. Host. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we discuss the line between public responsibility and personal association. Stay tuned. Fade out with the theme music. Tension remains in the air. TV studio, continuous. Camera fades in from break. A graphic flashes on screen, influence and accountability. The discussion picks up intensity. The audience is still absorbing Part 2's revelations. Caroline Leavitt and Barack Obama return to their seats. The host gives a signal. Cameras roll. Host: welcome back to the forum. We're continuing a very candid conversation with President Obama and commentator Caroline Leavitt. Let's jump right back in. Caroline lightly, Mr. President, earlier, you questioned why you're being compared to a rapper. But let's face it, Diddy isn't just any rapper. He's a cultural icon. And now, an alleged criminal. Obama restrained, I don't dispute his influence. But again, proximity doesn't mean partnership. If I attend a gala and someone takes a photo that's not an endorsement, Caroline, fair. But don't you think you had a unique opportunity to set a boundary? Then not now, when damage control kicks in. Obama, I have thousands of photos with people. Should I do background checks before every handshake? Caroline, not every handshake. But when someone uses your image to amplify their legitimacy, doesn't it require a response? Obama: that's assuming bad faith that I knew this was his intent. Host, turning to Obama: but perception is power. Would you have acted differently now that you know Obama? Yes, if I knew the allegations, I wouldn't have appeared anywhere near him. Caroline, gently: then let's pivot to what this says about power. Diddy didn't just rise on talent. He leveraged proximity to politicians, to institutions. What guardrails should exist? Obama, frustrated: you're asking me to be the morality police for everyone I've ever met. That's not leadership. That's paranoia. Host: is it paranoia if cultural figures are influencing policy indirectly? There's increasing concern about entertainers shaping societal norms without accountability. Caroline: especially when they're connected to behavior that would ruin any average citizen. This isn't about one party, Mr. President. This is about a dual justice system, one for elites, one for everyone else. Obama pauses, considering, I don't disagree, there are double standards. But let's not make me the avatar for every systemic flaw. Caroline, calmly: you were the president. You still are a global symbol of American integrity. This is a discussion worth having, especially when young people are watching. Obama shifts uncomfortably. Caroline remains poised. The audience murmurs again. The host receives a cue in his earpiece. Host: before we move on, breaking news: a new document leak ties several entertainment figures under federal review, including Diddy, to lobbying efforts targeting immigration policies during your administration. Obama, visibly tense: I'm hearing this for the first time. Caroline: wouldn't you agree, Mr. President, that this strengthens the argument for transparency? Obama: if crimes were committed, let the legal system work. I don't traffic in conspiracies. Caroline, leaning in: neither do I. I just ask questions people at home are too afraid to say out loud. Obama: or too wise to ask. Caroline: wisdom or fear, sir? The room tightens. The host signals for a breath of humor. Host: all right, let's not turn this into a courtroom. We've got questions from our live audience. First up, camera pans to a young woman in the front row. Audience member: Mr. Obama, if someone like Diddy used a photo with you to boost his brand, and he's later found guilty, should those associations be clarified by you or your team? Obama nods slowly. Yes, if someone misuses their image with me to dodge accountability, I'll speak on it. Caroline, interjecting: then do you disavow Diddy Combs right now on this stage? Obama: I disavow any criminal act. That includes anything Diddy is convicted of. Caroline: but you won't say his name. Obama, measured: let's wait for a verdict before condemning individuals by name. The crowd buzzes. The host quickly shifts gears. Host: when we return, we explore how influence, fame, and unchecked power erode trust. Is it time we redraw the boundaries between celebrity and politics? Fade out. Theme music plays. The camera lingers on the intense faces of Obama and Caroline. NT TV studio. Later that evening, the lights dim slightly. A new segment begins. The lower third banner reads, Celebrity Crime and Consequence. The mood in the studio has shifted. Tension hangs in the air. Caroline leans forward, ready to strike a new angle. Obama sits back, arms folded. The host clasps his tablet nervously. Host, we're diving deeper. As allegations swirl around the entertainment elite, America asks, are we too quick to idolize, too slow to scrutinize Caroline? Let's call it what it is, celebrity worship. It's been weaponized. And Diddy isn't an outlier, he's a prototype. Obama dry, a prototype for what a shadow government of record producers, Caroline calm, direct no. For a culture that tolerates predators because they wear designer suits and perform at the Super Bowl. Obama, again, I don't condone any of that. But guilt by association, that's a dangerous path. Caroline, it's not guilt, it's my responsibility. When your image becomes a shield for someone else's misconduct, silence isn't neutral, it's complicit. Host, let's look at the photo. Image appears on screen, Obama and Diddy at a fundraiser. Taken in 2012. Mr. President, what do you remember? Obama, a crowded room, dozens of donors. I shook a lot of hands. Caroline, and one of those hands belonged to a man now accused of trafficking and abuse. That image is everywhere. Kids see it and think if Obama's with him, he can't be that bad. Obama, firmly. Then let's be clear, that photo does not mean I endorsed him, nor do I support anything he stands for, if the allegations are true. Caroline, that's a weak line. If he leveraged that image for years to book deals, get airtime, win trust, and you knew nothing, Obama. Correct, I did not. Host, but should you have known, Obama, tired, I wasn't vetting guests at every event. That's not how presidential logistics work. Caroline, sharp. But you had the platform to clarify. Even now you hesitate. Why, Obama, irritated, because this isn't a witch trial. I won't fuel a media frenzy that punishes before due process. Caroline, but public trust is at stake, and Diddy isn't alone. Names are emerging, big ones. New graphic flashes on screen, celebrity cases under review. Brief images of other stars appear. Blurred faces hinting at scandal. Host tonight sources confirm federal investigations linked to artist foundations allegedly laundering money. Mr. President, many of these artists met with your administration. Obama shaking head. And again, meetings aren't endorsements. Artists contribute to political causes. That doesn't grant immunity. Caroline, but the American people see elites close ranks. When justice knocks, everyone suddenly forgets. Obama, that's your narrative, not the reality. Host, still transparency matters. Would you support an audit of political donations tied to these individuals, Obama? Absolutely, if it ensures faith in the system. Caroline, then lead the call. Say it here tonight. Obama sighs. Fine, full audit, no exceptions. Applause from audience. Caroline, softer. Then let's agree on this. Celebrity is not a shield. Fame shouldn't mean freedom from consequence. Obama. On that we do agree. Host. A rare moment of consensus, but as fame and influence blur into power, will accountability follow? The camera pans slowly as lights fade. Audience chatter simmers. The host turns to his notes. Obama remains pensive. Caroline checks her phone. A notification breaking, more names released in celebrity corruption probe. Fade to black. NT, TV studio, post-break, night continues. The host returns with a fresh tone. The screen behind him now shows a new headline. Culture clash, the price of influence. Host, we're back. The world's watching, and the question tonight. When influence crosses into immunity, who checks the powerful Caroline leaning in? That's the issue, isn't it? Influence unchecked becomes impunity. The entertainment industry created monsters, then gave them microphones. Obama. And we're conflating fame with felony now. Let's be careful. Caroline, I'm being precise. The people Diddy surrounded himself with bodyguards, assistants, promoters, they weren't just passive players. They enabled the environment. Obama. And you're suggesting I enabled it too? Caroline, no. I'm suggesting that the silence from leaders like you, after those affiliations became toxic, fed the rot. Host. Let's pivot. Reports suggest young fans emulate stars like Diddy. When allegations arise, their reactions range from disbelief to defense. Caroline, that's influence in real time. It shapes minds. Teens don't read court filings, they watch TikToks and music videos. Who's warning them? Obama-appointed parents, communities, educators, not political TV shows. Caroline, calm. Then you understand the urgency, because platforms are louder than parents now. Host, we spoke earlier about a photo. Mr. President, would you agree that those visuals matter more now than ever? Obama, absolutely. Optics matter, but context matters more. Caroline. Then why did your office never clarify the context, even as that photo was weaponized by Diddy's PR team? Obama. Because we don't issue statements every time someone uses a handshake to boost their clout. Host, should we have a system where political figures proactively disavow problematic associations? Obama. If we did, we'd spend more time writing disclaimers than running the country. Caroline, then don't complain when the disclaimers are written for you by public opinion. Audience murmurs in agreement. The tension thickens. Host, we reached out to legal experts ahead of tonight's broadcast. According to court documents, Diddy is facing multiple charges from racketeering to coercion. Yet many of his peers remain silent. Why, Caroline? Because they fear exposure. Not from crimes, from complicity. Obama. That's speculation, not fact. Caroline, it's pattern recognition. Host, let's take a call. He taps his tablet. We have Angela from Ohio. Go ahead. Caller VO. Why is it that these elites never face consequences until it's too late? And Mr. Obama, would you let your daughters listen to Diddy's music today? Obama, pause. No, I wouldn't. Caroline. That's powerful, but it came late. Obama, firm. It came honestly. Host, next caller, Jason, New York. Caller 2VO. Does Caroline believe Obama should publicly denounce Diddy? Caroline, yes. Not as a political act, as a moral one. Obama, I denounce all acts of abuse. My record on that is clear. Caroline, then say his name. Say Diddy was wrong. Obama, Diddy was wrong if the allegations prove true. Scattered clapping from audience, a few sighs of disappointment. Host. Therein lies the line between politics and principle. Caroline, and it's fading. If we can't call out predators without caveats, what hope do we have? Obama, hope lies in due process, not public execution. Host, let's conclude this segment. When we return, we discuss whether the celebrity industrial complex is overdue for collapse or merely a reckoning delayed. Fade out. TV studio. Later that night, the set glows under cooler lights. A subtle shift in atmosphere, still electric but more contemplative. The headline now reads, Truth, Power, and Accountability. Host, we're entering our final segment tonight. A conversation that began with an image and unraveled into a national reckoning. Caroline. Because this is no longer about Diddy alone. It's about how America handles the intersection of celebrity and criminality. Obama. Let's not make one man a stand-in for every systemic flaw. Caroline. But if he exposes the flaws, isn't he the perfect place to start? Host. Let's zoom out. Caroline. What should change tomorrow morning? Caroline, media literacy, civic courage, and honestly, a willingness to offend the untouchable. If someone's hurting people, I don't care how many awards they've won. Obama, it's not that simple. These cases are layered. People lie. Motivations vary. The system doesn't need more outrage, it needs reform. Caroline. We don't reform what we refuse to name. Host. The viral clip from earlier tonight is already trending. Obama denying ties, Caroline demanding truth. How do each of you feel about that soundbite being America's headline tomorrow? Obama frustrated. Because nuance doesn't trend. Caroline hopeful. Because silence doesn't stand a chance anymore. Host that brings us to the final question, influence. We've seen artists shape elections. Politicians echo lyrics. Where does one end and the other begin? Obama. They've been intertwined since Bob Dylan and Motown. The difference is velocity. Social media collapses the distance. Caroline exactly. And when that velocity is hijacked by predators, it spreads the poison faster. Obama, so we blame the artist Caroline. We hold the guilty accountable, that's all. Host, let's play a clip. He presses a button. A video of Diddy on stage in 2011 thanking Obama at a music awards show. Audience gasps. Caroline, there it is. Gratitude for access, not for policy, not for service, for proximity to power. Obama quietly, I didn't attend that event. Host, but your name was weaponized. Obama, and that's why context matters. He used me, like he used others. Caroline then joined the victims. Speak plainly. Say you were misused. That sends a message. Obama after a beat. I was misused. And I regret that proximity lent credibility. The audience is silent, deep, respectful. Host Caroline final word. Caroline, I didn't come here to win a debate. I came to draw a line between those who protect the vulnerable and those who protect the powerful. Obama. Then let's build something on that line, together. She nods, the tension finally softening. Host. This has been one of the most honest and uncomfortable hours we've hosted, but growth rarely feels easy. From this moment on, let's agree on one thing. Truth matters more than reputation. Caroline and Obama in unison agreed. The lights dim slightly. The studio screen behind the host now shows a bold headline. Celebrity accountability and collapse. Host leaning forward, welcome back. In this final segment we ask, is the celebrity industrial complex finally on the verge of collapse, or is it just entering its next evolution? Caroline collapse is overdue. For decades, celebrities have operated in a vacuum of consequences. They weaponize fandoms, drown allegations in NDAs, and exploit platforms meant for art to shield predation. Obama, but we can't conflate fame with immunity. Yes, some abuse the system, but don't throw out the entire cultural structure because of rotten actors. Caroline sharp, then fix the structure. The music industry built shrines around men like Diddy. When the shrine cracks, we find the rot inside. Host, let's dig deeper. We're talking about more than one artist here. We're talking about a system, from producers to promoters, from managers to media. Caroline exactly. And the media, us, have to own our part. We glorified lifestyles, drenched in abuse and excess. We platformed enablers. Even now, look how cautiously some outlets are covering this trial. Obama, you think this trial is a Rorschach test for the soul of American pop culture? Caroline nodding, absolutely. Every reaction tells us what someone really values, truth or tribe. Host viewers have been sending in thoughts non-stop. We've collected a few themes. 1. How can parents shield their children from this culture? Caroline, start with honesty. Don't pretend celebrities are role models. Teach kids that talent doesn't equal virtue. Obama, but also teach nuance. We risk creating cynics if we teach only the failings. Show the arc downfall, yes, but also recovery. Caroline, recovery starts with accountability. Host, another question viewers ask, should platforms like Spotify or Apple Music deplatform artists under criminal investigation? Obama, that's censorship. Dangerous precedent. Caroline, it's not censorship, it's curated. If a platform can remove hate speech, it can remove harm-glorifying content. Obama, but who decides what's harmful today? It's Diddy. Tomorrow, who? Caroline, let's not make this abstract. Diddy isn't a hypothetical, he's a headline. Host. To add fuel court documents now confirm involvement of multiple celebrities in similar misconduct. Names sealed for now. Caroline. The same names we invite to galas, award ceremonies, and talk shows. Our culture rewards silence, not integrity. Obama frustrated. I'm not defending silence, but I worry this will become a witch hunt. Caroline, no. It's finally a fire alarm. Host joining us remotely is cultural psychologist Dr. Layla Hammond. Dr. Hammond, do celebrities shape youth values more than family today? Dr. Hammond on screen. In many cases, yes. Social media accelerates identity absorption. Teens often mirror behaviors they see, rewarded by fame. Caroline, that's terrifying. Because what they're mirroring now is decadence with no consequence. Obama or resilience. There's also good. Think about artists who use their platform for justice, not indulgence. Caroline. And how many are drowned out by scandals? Host, a final poll just came in. 72% of viewers think political leaders should publicly distance themselves from celebrities facing serious allegations. Obama sighs. Maybe the public's ahead of us. Maybe it's time we lead by stepping back. Caroline, then start tonight. Say clearly, the culture must change. Obama quietly, the culture must change. There's a pause, a beat. A slow ripple of applause builds in the audience. The camera zooms out slightly. Host. Let's end, not with condemnation, but with a challenge. To every viewer, every parent, every artist, decide what you'll tolerate. Decide what you'll amplify. Because silence isn't neutral, it's a choice. Caroline, and the silence ends here. Obama nodding agreed. Host, thank you for staying with us tonight. The world is watching. Let's give them something worthy to watch.